They say, really, can we get funding tomorrow? And you're like, yes.
3, 2, 1.
Different.
Oh, that I don't like about it. We built the organization top down.
Yeah, you don't really see that often.
My advice would be create leaders in your team.
Disbursed close to 250 crores already.
Hey guys, welcome to Tech and Tequila, the show where we interview the smartest funders and founders in India over tequila-based drinks.
For this episode, we have Ram and Nirav of Credible with us today.
Hi.
Thank you guys for joining
Yeah,
us.
thank you so much.
Thank you for
Thank you for
having
having
us.
us.
Cheers.
We don't have to reach each other, it's fine.
So Credible is a fintech company building supply chain, financing solutions and products. Why don't you guys talk to us a little bit about your journey and the actual platform that you guys have built?
Yeah, maybe
Sure.
start off helping explain the product, because frankly it took us about 20 minutes to understand.
Yeah, Adam and I spent a lot of time on the website just trying to break it down and all of the various stakeholders that are involved.
Sure. So Ram and I set up Credible in March of 17. Incidentally, we're related. He's my brother-in-law.
Oh, great.
Unfortunately, he married my
He's
sister.
very happy.
Interesting dynamic, actually.
So we've known each other for a while, and you know, we got together one night over. I don't think it was tequila; it was something else. But and decided that look, we must do something about working capital in this country. And given both our backgrounds, and Ram will talk a little bit about his, we thought that this is really a big problem to solve, and that excited us, and that's how Credible came to be. It would be more relevant for us to give backgrounds to kind of get into what we do. So I'll let Ram go first, and then I'll take it from there.
So very quickly, I come with a background between corporate restructuring and investment banking. I started my career by restructuring a company that was in BIFR, which I successfully restructured and got equity participations from the likes of Mr. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala. Thereafter, I spent about 7 years in investment banking. And it was during that time in 2012 that I got to buy out a logistics business, which was again undergoing a restructuring process. During that time, one of the things that I really struggled with was trying to raise working capital to enable growth in the business. And I must have gone to every bank in the country, as well as majority of the NBFCs that are out there, but could never really get working capital because they always required collaterals. And because inherently our business was an asset-light business, we really struggled to raise working capital. And that's why when Nirav and I were sitting over a few drinks, I was basically expressing my frustration around this. And that's how we actually decided, okay, this is an interesting opportunity because clearly we are not the only ones who are struggling to raise working capital. So that's how the idea was incepted.
So I spent close to 20 years building different kind of businesses. Spent the first 10 years building a product services tech company. Then spent the next 7-8 years building a global commodities and structured finance business out of Singapore. And during that time, I was exposed to you know, several dozen banks that we worked with to get trade facilities going and to get trade finance going. So that was my introduction to how supply chain works and how banks think and how, you know, how it all happens. So when Ram came to me and we were talking about this, we said, look, in the Indian context, it's very difficult to get this done. So why don't we look at a solution which can scale, because there are thousands and thousands of vendors of large enterprises, and barely a fraction of them get access to formal lending. So how do we scale this, number one? More importantly, how do we take their credit worthiness out of the equation, right? So the need for them to be credit worthy is no longer relevant. So that was the second challenge. And the third was, we were very clear that we don't want to build a lending business. We don't want to build an NBFC-based digital lending, non-digital lending business. We wanted to use our balance sheet primarily as a risk participant in any program that we can stitch together. So while the idea evolved from creating working capital as a solution, today it's you know, the way we look at ourselves is more like a supply chain investment bank. So we would go to our large enterprise customers and stitch bespoke, tech-enabled,
Got it.
large-scale supply chain programs, both on the receivable side as well as on the payable side. And in that process, you know, everybody in the ecosystem benefits economically. So that's the whole idea, to put it simply.
Sure. Well, could you perhaps walk us through the customer journey from both a supplier or distributor side as well as the enterprise client?
Sure. So typically in any large enterprise sales, the sales cycle is long, right? Now we've been at it for a little over 18 months. You know, we speak to about 250 CFOs pan-India at any given point in time. And that's helped create a funnel to shorten our sales cycles. But it's a tough process to acquire a customer. Then you integrate into their systems, you onboard, you know, thousands of their vendors onto your platform, and then do a rate discovery for those vendors onto the platform to be able to get them access to financing. So that journey is quite a bit, but it's an extremely sticky journey, right? Because once you're there, once you spend all this time with the CFO and the company, replacing you becomes slightly challenging unless you really screw up. So that's really where it is, and it's a very fulfilling journey because you see a digital transformation of the entire supply chain ecosystem. You start seeing, and it's paperless. It's virtually on tap. You know, there's no collateral, there's no security required, no personal guarantees. So it becomes, you know, when we talk to vendors or we talk to distributors, it's a very heartening experience because they say, really, can we get funding tomorrow? And you're like, yes. And there is no limit to what amount of money we can get them because it all depends on their invoicing to their enterprise customers. So that kind of transforms the way supply chain happens.
So you were talking a little bit about B2B sales and how the sales cycle is so long. How do you guys think about approaching positive LTV to CAC, since that is such an important metric when you're bringing aboard, you know, new clients and then honestly on the scale towards profitability?
So just on the sales cycle,
Right.
when we started off about 18 months ago and we were approaching large corporates, right, the cycle to conversion was very, very long because
Right.
firstly it was a new concept. People really did not understand the benefits of the entire program. But because we've been out there in the market, we've been sponsoring conferences, we've been, you know, like Neerav mentioned, we've been in conversations with about 250 CFOs for a good part of 18 months, right? What's happened now is there's awareness about the program and the benefits of it. So now what we are really seeing is the conversion cycle actually shorten out, right? Our first client took us close to about 15 months, if I'm not mistaken, yeah? And now we're seeing conversions happen literally, you know, no more than 4 months, which is a huge reduction in time conversion.
Right.
But because the funnel is so large, we actually now seeing a dominoes effect where we're seeing clients convert every month, a minimum of 1 to convert every month. So now, you know, the effort that we actually put in over the last 18 months is trying to fructify.
And I imagine that's a combination of perhaps the market understanding and adapting to the service as well as the crispness of the value proposition and your ability to articulate that.
Sure. We are probably one of the only players in the space that does a holistic 360-degree supply chain financing solution for large corporates, right? So we cover the payable side on a post-invoice basis. We cover the receivable side on the post-invoice and pre-invoice basis. And our most interesting product is what we call just-in-time financing, where we are able to identify billable events prior to an invoice being generated and then finance those events in real time. So we do close to, today we close to about 30,000 transactions a month in that piece alone. We've disbursed close to 250 crores already in that space. And once you marry all of this together, it becomes a very compelling value proposition for the balance sheet of the large corporate as well.
So if you really look at it from the vendor's perspective or the suppliers to the large corporates, right? If you, in India today, your cash-to-cash cycle for these vendors is no less than 90 days.
Right.
What we've been able to do through the just-in-time program is shorten that to 1 day.
That's amazing.
right? And because we are funding on billable events, we are not taking any execution risk of the vendors. So a billable event has happened, which essentially means that if the supplier stops to provide any more services to the large corporate, he will still get paid for that event.
Got it.
So who owns the risk of the loans here? I understand that you.
We actually work with over a dozen financial institutions pan-India.
And you guys also recently got a license to be an
We do,
NBFC.
we did.
So are you planning on holding some of the risk on your own
So
books?
we do risk participation, like I told you,
Right.
on the just-in-time financing piece that we
Okay.
spoke about. But that too is a co-lending model. So we would bring in a bank, or we would bring in another larger NBFC
Got it.
to co-participate with us in the risk. Like I said, our focus is not to build a lending business. Our focus is to build a supply chain investment bank, and that's pretty much how we are looking at this.
So obviously building a supply chain investment bank would require, hiring talent that has deep expertise both in
Sure.
financial services and in technology. How do you guys think about this in terms of, or what are your biggest lessons that you've learned when hiring talent, especially before you've raised a round of funding that validates, your journey and your company?
Well, look, we had a very different approach to bringing talent in the organization. We built the organization top down.
Okay.
So we built the leadership team, most of the leadership team first, and then we let them build their own teams. And that's really how we did it. And it's worked beautifully with us. We've had close to less than 2% attrition in the last 2.5 years that we've been around. We've never lost a leadership role,
Wow.
touch wood. And what's that? What that has done as well is it's given them a lot of ownership, and they're literally CEOs of their own thing, right? And I think that's really helped the way if you look at the team today, if you go to the website and look at the team, they're very, very highly qualified guys. I mean, they're 20 years plus investment banking. There are people who are 10, 15 years plus banking, 15 years plus tech.
Right.
My finance controller is 14 years ex-Deloitte. So we've been able to stitch together a very, very impressive team, if I may say so myself. But and that's really what's driven the growth of Credible so far. We just look like good guys on television, but they are the ones who actually make it happen. So
I imagine that was an interesting journey in the beginning, because prior to actually building the company, you have to approach heads of teams or potential heads of teams and be like, hey, you want to jump on this ship?
right.
Could you give us a sense of how you architected those conversations? Because they're not easy, because these people are qualified and coming from established companies.
I think they bought into the vision of what this could do, right? And they were somewhere inspired by the role they would play in making it happen. And I think that's really what attracted the first set of talent. And then they could pass that passion down to the people they were recruiting. So it, like Ram said, it created a domino effect.
Yeah.
We love that word, by the way. We use it a lot. So it did create that effect. And that's really what's happened. And it's been a great journey so far in terms of human capital, for sure.
And speaking of capital, obviously the other funding side, you
Yeah.
guys recently raised a round about a year ago from Alpha Capital. It was about $15 million.
That's right.
So how did you think about deploying the capital before you received the round of funding, and now by and large have you guys stuck to that plan?
We have. We always wanted to raise a large Series A round, largish Series A round.
It's large.
Because we did not want to kind of keep going to the market every 6 months to raise money. Also, we were very clear that this is not likely to be a very high cash burn model. So we're not going to keep losing money on a month-on-month basis consistently for a long time. So the whole idea was to have the capital to deploy in your risk participation, to build out technology, to hire great talent, and to pay them well. I truly believe that if you don't let them live a comfortable life and you kind of stinge on that, you'll have a real issue sometime in your hand. So I think all of those for all of those reasons, raising a significant round was important. It's served us well. Alpha has been a great partner to have, and it's been.
I think what also helps was, unlike majority of the startups,
Right.
if you look at our entire P&L from inception, for the first 8 months we were profitable.
Oh, wow.
So
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you don't really see
Yeah.
that often.
exactly. So and that's what really also helped us, because we actually, the opportunity that we were serving was staring right at our face, right?
Right.
So and we were able to attract clients very quickly, and which essentially helped us pay the bills
Right.
to a large degree.
And do you guys earn on a percentage of spend, or is it a SaaS model? Is it like a
No,
How
it's a
does-
success
what
fee
exactly?
model.
Okay.
So we, whatever we save as an economic benefit to the large enterprise, or any economic value we create for the large enterprise, we take a percentage of it.
And you build that, does that get billed to the company, or you take it at the spend level when you're fulfilling these loans?
Both models work. In some cases, we just take it off the escrow.
Okay.
And in some cases, we bill the company on a monthly basis.
So I think this is a good time to probably transition into our Truth or Tequila segment.
Sure.
Maybe you want to talk a little bit about the new way in which we're going to play the game.
This is the first time we have two guests at the same time on the show. So we're going to play a little game and change it up a bit.
Okay.
We have a couple placards here with your names.
Placards. They're
Placards.
just pieces of paper.
Yeah. Piece of A4 cut in half. And the game is pretty straightforward. We're going to ask you who is more likely to do something.
Sure.
And we'll count down 3, 2, 1, and you flash the name. And if you guys have the same name answer, that person has to take a shot of tequila.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah?
And this makes it, your dynamic actually, personal and professional, makes it a very interesting game, I think. Playing against your brother-in-law, I would be worried.
I mean, I think you could get another great idea. Apparently, this was a company formed over drinks.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
We like to facilitate the creative process here on Tech.
Definitely. Do you want to start, Adam?
Sure. All right. Who is more likely to get stressed and let it show? 3, 2, 1. Oh, different.
Oh.
Are you serious? Are you really? So he goes pink in complexion the moment there's something happening over there,
Except
and his eyes, which are wide, become wider.
Understand. I know.
I'll
Okay.
give him that.
Oh, really? Okay, then Ram, this one's for you then.
You got it right.
I got it right?
So-
No, wait. No, they both agreed that it's him.
Yeah.
Oh, they both agree that it's him? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Clearly, I
Although I don't mind.
know the rules of my own game.
We'll get you there.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
All right. Which one of you is more likely to make an impulsive decision? Oh, that's you again, Nirav.
Nirav.
You want me to keep drinking?
Yes, that is the rules of the game. All right. Next question.
Yeah.
How many do we have?
Just four. Just four.
Just four.
And then we do have some truth and tequila.
Is it? I better get some, huh?
Yeah. Who is more focused on funding and versus operations?
Nice. Okay.
There we go.
I feel like that was a relatively easy one. And the last one, who is more likely to want an exit via an acquisition?
Oh boy, I don't think anybody, man.
I don't think he said you.
But I mean,
Now you guys,
But yeah,
now you guys are even. We're wrong.
Both of you.
Yes. All right.
you just wanted the tequila. So you were both going to stay down.
Fair. So I actually think that we could probably also ask some more regular truth and tequila questions.
Sure.
Because why not? And we have time. Adam, do you want to
Yeah,
ask some?
we were ready for you guys not to be on board with this game, so we had normal truth or tequila ready. But why not play both games? What was the biggest co-founder conflict that you guys went through?
co-founder, sorry, say that again.
Co-founder conflict that you guys went through.
I don't think
I
we
don't,
have
I
so
don't think we
far.
have so far.
Oh, nice. Okay, no one drinks for that.
All right.
What's the truth, by the way?
It has to be the truth.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise, you have
already
to
had 2
drink.
shots each, so we trust that honesty is now part of the mix here.
Exactly.
One thing that you love and don't love about each other.
One thing about okay, okay. You want me to start?
Of course.
I love his thought process. I think it is better than anybody who I've ever met so far. he can think, the beautiful part about him is he can think literally 5 years out in terms of how he envisions the company to be, as well as he's so detail oriented with today. I think that's that's brilliant. It's very few people have that quality, and I think the clarity of thought along with the detail orientation, I think that's incredible.
If you were a girl, I'd kiss you.
And if you weren't related. And one thing you don't love?
What I would want him to improve is obviously, I'd love for him to join me in a couple of workout sessions. But yeah.
All right.
Start playing golf
We'll
again.
give you that. And Ram?
Where do I start? I think what I really love about him is his energy is so infectious. It just makes the whole place worth going to. You know, he truly, I truly believe he's one of the greatest founders one could hope for, because he lets you be in his space, and I've never, and it's true, because we've never had a conflict. The reason is because he's never allowed it, and I think that's the greatest thing about him. What don't I like about him?
You can't say he married your sister.
Well, no, that I don't like about my sister.
Because she beat you to it.
Well, I think he could do a little bit more with discipline, in the sense of, you know, kind of following.
I have attention span of a goldfish, essentially.
So-
As do I, totally understand.
So maybe that.
All right. Very honest and very heartfelt. What was the valuation at your last round of funding?
We would prefer not to disclose it, given the fact that we are in the middle of a fundraise.
Okay, then both of you get this shot.
Cheers.
Cheers. You want to go for the next one?
Yeah.
You all are becoming stingy on the quantity, aren't you?
I'm sorry. We're happy to give you more. Most of the time, people come and don't want to drink.
Most of the time I've had the tequila, so he's feeling left out.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll pour you mine.
No, don't worry.
All right.
fair enough.
Who's your favorite board member? Can't say each other.
Oh, okay.
So we are only what? We are four as of
four on the
now.
board.
okay. Two of you and
Yeah.
two others.
So
And one of them is my co-founder in my previous business. And the other ones are investors, so I'm going to go with.
Okay, fine.
I agree.
No, but Sandeep's a great.
Yeah.
No, honestly, he's a great guy, and like I said before, Alpha Capital
Yeah.
has been nothing but rock solid support.
I think I think the Alpha team has been outstanding with us so far.
Great.
I think they're brilliant. I mean,
It's a great Series A investor to have,
Yeah.
honestly.
They're going to be very happy with all of this marketing that you guys are doing for them.
no, but it's the truth. I mean, now
That's great.
Tequila.
Now we know you're speaking
Yeah.
the truth.
Well,
Yes, definitely.
It's after tequila.
Exactly. Have you guys had any acquisition offers, and if so, from whom?
We haven't.
Okay. Well, you avoided that shot.
Well,
Great.
That's
This has been
sad.
like, I think, our peak amount of shots taken across a.
Yeah, all of the episodes
But
so
also
far.
honest. So I wonder
Yeah.
how that happened.
well, we just love drinking.
Clearly,
That's
the
how,
inception
that's how
of the
Credible was
company.
born to start with.
This is great product market fit happening right now as well.
So I think we can kind of broaden it out a little bit before we close it up. I think it would be interesting to hear from both of you individually what your vision is for Credible, let's say in the next 5 years.
I believe truly where we are standing today, I think Credible can be one of the largest global players in enabling capital across the supply chain of corporates. So if you really look at it, globally there are about $4 trillion of capital stuck in balance sheets of large corporates. It's a huge opportunity. I think we can be a significant player to unlock that kind of capital.
Great.
Yeah, look, from a vision standpoint, I believe that there is a lot of innovation still left in the working capital space, and we will pioneer that innovation. going forward. Our DNA is built to, besides all that he said, our DNA is built to be able to create products and services that no one's seen before. And that would be the driving force towards creating a global company that can truly make a difference to how people borrow. And I think that's really where we see ourselves. So if anyone looks at or thinks about working capital, they'll think Credible first. And I think that's really where we want to take it.
I told you it's better.
That was very well done. That was very well done. I think there's nothing much left for us to uncover, but we always like to end our episodes with a last shot of advice. So we'll pour out a couple of tequila shots.
Maybe one more.
But we love,
For
you know,
Nero.
we have viewers that are either working at startups, struggling founders themselves, people in the venture community. If you were to give one sort of piece of gyan about company building to anyone with ambition and talent out there, please share.
So my advice would be create leaders in your team. You cannot build a company on your own. Partner with people, do not hire them, and make leaders of them. That's the only way your company and you will grow.
Yeah, he said it all. But just to add to that, two things that we as a company strongly believe in. One is culture eats strategy for breakfast. It's something that we keep hearing, but in our case, we take it really, really seriously. And two is, execution over idea any day. Ideas are cheap,
True.
right? Everybody gets an idea, but it's the execution that makes the difference. So those are two fundamental things that we truly go by. So
Great.
great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ram.
Thank you so much for
Cheers.
having us.
Salud.
Thank you. This was so fun. Awesome.
Really, can we get funding tomorrow? Yes.
3, 2, 1. Oh, different.
That I don't like about my sister.